yourself. There's no, maybe 70% here, 50% here. It's all in or not if you want to get somewhere.
The thing is, you have to be able to make those sacrifices because bodybuilding is a sport that can be emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially draining
Yeah.
compared to any other sport, especially as an amateur because you have to pay your fees when you got
Hmm.
to do shows. There's always debate how, well, I like to look at this, even though I don't do a lot of content on demand because, I don't pay attention to guys. I may not be the 80s, but I like the ladies. And, but there's a difference between the men's training compared to the women. The guys, they spend more because we're getting ready because guys eat more, they woke up more. Y'all
Right.
ladies, it costs y'all more to get ready for a prep. Like instead of getting your hair, your makeup, your posing suits right there, trips to the shows, paying the interest fees, tanning, and all the guys got to do is put on a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts and tan. That's it.
I mean,
That's
it's pretty close to it. Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing is that I keep talking about this. I wish, other than the like bikini divisions, I mean wellness, I wish the other divisions like get more attention. Was it just about almost a couple of weeks ago had Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, one of the biggest events in bodybuilding, first of the year. And even though he still has some of those divisions in amateur, it's not on the big stage. And
Right.
I feel like it's not fair representation, like compared to the Olympia. Like, you see amazing competitors, like one lady who I'm a fan of, and I think she really, to me, and to just as a fan of women bodybuilding, she saved the sport. She saved her division. That is lovely. Miss Andrea Shaw. I just love. I mean, I just sometimes I know a couple of guys that met her. That I know them are cool, but I get jealous because that's my girl. I want to be around her. This is a true story. I always want to bring this out because, as my other guy like says, if you're good at something, never do it for free. And when I do this content, and with somebody like her, take the time out. Somebody like me, she don't even know, never met in her life, and she does this. This was a while back. A friend of mine was at the Olympia 2023,
Mhm.
and she ran to Andrea, and she signed this issue for me. I just, it just cuts my heart. And I know I need to put it in a case or something, but I sleep with it and I call it George.
Mhm.
And I really admire the ladies for what they do. Yes, like I said, my crime was when I was younger. They kind of psyched me a bit, but when I'm doing this content, I get to learn what it is, especially for the aspect of being a woman, a bodybuilder. Like, is there anybody in sport that you follow that you really like? You really just like,
Oh,
wow, this is amazing.
um, 8-time world figure champion, Sid. She, I, she's just awesome, and just like watching her is like it's like a drug. You can't stop watching her posing. I just recently started following her on YouTube. I wasn't a big YouTube person, but I'm getting back into it. And I like watching her workouts, especially when it comes to legs. And I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I saw her at one of the Arnold Classics, and I didn't know that she was showing up. I just saw her, and I dropped everything I did, and I sat in that line for over an hour. And people always have questions and they want to like talk to her. I walked up to her and I was like, I have nothing else. I have nothing to say. I was like, can I just have a hug? And she's kind of laughed at me. And I was like, I'm just really flabbergasted that I'm literally looking at you. And just being in her presence and taking a picture with her, like, made my whole year.
I tell you, a while back, I went to my first bodybuilding show. Never, most of the time I was usually working, or like the old saying, had the money but didn't have the time, and now I have the time but I don't have the money. But I went to my first bodybuilding show back in 2022. It was Savannah Pro. It was a great opportunity. I was just at awe meeting so many different people, and some of these ladies I follow. Linda Murray was there. I saw her. One lady I know, Annie Vecchio from back in the day when she competed. I met a couple ladies I interviewed a while back, and also I took a picture with a couple of ladies. One Donna Salib, she's pretty cool. One lady whose name I don't speak, and one lady I got a chance to take a picture with was the 2018 Rise Phoenix champion, Alina Popa. I mean, it was, I can tell you, if Andrea was actually there, she was guest posing. If I met Andrea and I said, I don't know what to say, if she hugs me, I'm gonna say, and I say,
That
can I have a cigarette afterwards?
that was me. I didn't know what to say. I tried thinking of things to say, but I couldn't. I was just like, she's right there.
You were so clipped. You
I
just like,
was. I was sweating and like I could feel like my armpits getting like sweaty and stuff, and like my breathing was bad, and my tunnel vision was like I just it was bad. It was really bad. And when I walked up to her, I was like, I should be okay. And I went to say something, and I was like, I have nothing to say.
that's the thing. When you see, like, think about it. If you ever see like a celebrity that you follow for years, and you get the moment to see them up close
Hmm.
and personal, it just you might have things play in your head, but then come in your
Yeah.
mouth. But Sid is a great lady. I think she really represented her division for a long time. Now she walked away from it. She's promoting. She's been promoting. It's going to be the second year. She's going to promote the Rising Phoenix. I mean, sorry, the Triple O Dynasty, along with Andrea and also Whitney Jones. As you know, this year just had a figure in women's bodybuilding. Great show. I mean, it was great opportunity for them to represent their divisions and other women who have really represented themselves in divisions, like I said, Andrea, Sarah Vilgas. You look at now across the board, it's amazing women over the years. And what's your thoughts now that Sid's stepping out and you heard that Missy Trescott is going to be switching over? Do you feel like it's a three-way possibility?
Hmm.
Could you know? Could Missy be the first woman jumping from another division to win the championship? Could Jessica Ray Padilla finally get a shot, or possibly or Laura Montez, or for somebody come out of nowhere and get the shot?
Honestly, at this point, there's just so much upcoming talent. I just want to see it. I can't say I really have a favorite right now, one that I'm favoring. I just want to see these ladies more and more on stage. And I want to see whoever gets up there and qualifies for the Olympia. I want to see it. And I think that's when I'll make my determination of who really like impresses me, who personally wows me. And to be honest, whether they first place or 10th place, just to see the fact that they're up there and they did what they did, that's inspiring a lot to me. Just to see that these ladies, they've been putting in the time, like years. This isn't something where some people think like, oh, they were there, they got lucky. Like, no, they didn't get there in 2 years. Like, they got there in like 8 years. you know
Mm.
that right there, just seeing those ladies on stage at that level is that's what I'm there for, really. I and I'm not bashing Sid or anything, but with her being up there as much as she was, it was almost no surprise. It was what you were expecting. Now it's just fair game, and I'm really really interested to see who takes that title.
Yeah, I think truthfully, it is an open game for whoever comes in. With Missy being a three-time fitness champion, she has good aesthetics. Some say that she might be maybe do pretty good in physique, but she doesn't want to do that division. And I think one thing why she's moving over because fitness can really drain the yacht out of you. Ladies have got injured. Remember, Missy got
Yes.
injured about a couple of years ago, and it took a while to come back, and then she wins her title back. And
Mhm.
everybody got to find that purpose for themselves,
Yeah.
especially in this sport. So also I noticed that you are a business lady. You run your own apparel. So share us with us. When did that start?
That started a few years ago. Um, it was something that I don't make much off of it. I think I make like less than $1 off of each purchase because right now I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. Um, it's Pop Company Apparel, and every bit of purchase goes to veterans, and that are veterans that are dealing with homelessness, or the families that are dealing with homelessness. Because I actually work for a nonprofit that assists veterans who are homeless or facing homelessness, and with their families as well. And being a veteran myself, I just see that's the best way I can give back. And it was named after the company that I was part of when I was in boot camp, and this was before they integrated females and males were training together. Unfortunately, my company, and I'm sure some of the girls, if they're watching right now, they're probably like, "Yep," nodding away because they disbanded my company. So there's no more Pop Company in down in Paris Island, and that hit home because that's where you developed, and that's where you grew. That's where you, excuse my French, but went through the most shit show of your life for 13 weeks every day with these girls, and it it hit home. It really did, and it, like, even now I get a little choked up because that's where I became the person that I am today. I mean, I've always developed over the years, but like, I'd have to say, like, a core of myself came from that experience. And to see the fact that they disbanded Papa Company because everyone says, well, the Marine Corps needs to be like everybody else and integrate male and female um, training and boot camp, which you can ask the majority of us. We're like, no, that's what makes us different. We don't train with males. We do the same training, but we don't train with them. There's no integrated classrooms and stuff. We're always separate. And it's 13 weeks of hell. And there's a reason why we train that way. And when that was gone, it just, I wanted to keep, I wanted to keep Papa Company alive somehow.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. One thing is like this: men and women, we are different. Even though we're the same race, we're different. I don't say genders, I say, species, breeds. What a man can do, a woman can't. And what a woman can do, a man can't.
mm,
Like we have more upper body strength. Y'all have more lower body strength. Endurance, I think women have more better endurance compared to men.
mm,
There's some things that I think that's why it's good to have a little bit separate, but equal mentality when it comes down to that.
right.
I think some people have a concern about with the new the defense secretary talking about women don't be in combat. Fuck him. I think
Hmm.
he's an idiot. But anybody who is willing to serve this country,
Hmm.
who's willing to take that chance to risk not their life, but also their time, their bodies, they deserve that opportunity. It shouldn't matter about what sex you are. But
Hmm.
it's just always going to be the tit for tat when it comes down to men and women, especially in bodybuilding. Right? One thing I just come to about because the women, if you look at it, don't get a lot of attention unless you're bikini or wellness, because those are TNA divisions. Those everybody like to see because those are more attainable in mindset.
Yep.
While like I've been a fan of women's body for a long time, followed sport for most of my life, and I respect the women. And also, actually, again, they do excite me. And since doing this content, I really expanded. I've done interviews with ladies in bikini, even though you know that division I find, but I respect their passion as any athlete.
Yeah. I think too, yeah, bikini, I think it's been around for so long. It's very saturated. But again, I'm not knocking any of the ladies because, they have their challenges that they have just as much as we do. They have to have that very feminine but muscular look in the right places, and they don't want to be overdeveloped, but they need to be developed enough, and they have to have enough separation but not too much separation where they look very hard and dried out versus the other classes. So with them, I give them all the credit, and the fact that some of these girls, I mean, they'll be at like these national shows, and the bikini just takes like what, 2-3 hours worth of just going through these girls because there's so many, and the prep that they have to go through, and then trying to keep that blood in their muscles to make their muscles look fuller too while they're going through prejudging and finals and standing in line and waiting forever, and you're still in the heels. Props to you ladies. I can't do that. I'm the sick
Yeah,
here.
yeah, it's tough like for anybody who gets into this, But me, as I said again, like I said, I've done interviews with ladies in bikini, and I respect them, but like I said again, I'm a fan of the muscles. I'm a fan of the big freaky chicks. I'm a fan of that. I like that type, but also I respect the women in divisions like physique. I was a big fan of it when it first came out, but I have done interviews quite a few ladies. I really respect them. Figure, I've done quite a few ladies in figure, and even done some ladies in fitness. And I said again, it doesn't work with bikinis. I mean, maybe it's that point of view as me as an outsider in the sport, you know. But yeah, I understand that it takes a lot. The training, the regimen, the diet. That's one part about the diet. I know, like after your last show, and I asked you off this question. After your last show, share with me Constance, Connie, what was that thing that was calling you? The thing that you wanted the most? That thing that you desire?
Um, Food. I just desired food and sleep like there was no tomorrow. That's what when I was my last show. I was super happy. I was ecstatic that I was up there and I placed where I placed and I met the girls that I met. And we made it through prep. I was super stoked to be there. I didn't want to lose that hard look, but I was definitely ready to be able to walk on a treadmill for 10 minutes without my feet in my hips and my back just pounding because there's no fat. There's like no fat even in your feet. You can't even like walk comfortably. I was very excited for sleeping in a little bit more and very excited for the steak and the potatoes and the shrimp. I ate so much after my first show. My second show, it was I think it was shrimp Alfredo. I was really excited for that and just kind of stuffing my face with like just really good food, and I enjoyed it. And my coach, my coach's wife is one of my best friends, and she was so patient and supporting because she went through it too. And I definitely wouldn't have made it through some of those cardio sessions without her. So if she's watching, girl, I love you to pieces. You are amazing. Don't ever doubt yourself. I can't wait to see you on stage again. Um, her and her daughter is a baker, and she's amazing. Made me this. I can't even tell you what it was, but it was like a cinnamon toast cheesecake kind of bite, and it was heaven when I bit into that sucker. It was yes, it was. They were big pieces. It was like this. I think there's a photo of me on my Instagram, and I just trying to like stuff that thing in my face because it was so good. And I'd have to say that was probably one of the most rewarding bites ever because it was made out of someone's heart. It wasn't bought, and it was and it was very thoughtful, and it was so delicious.
Yeah, I tell you, it's like, a lot of these ladies, they have a particular favorite, especially after the show, because you're on prep, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. You have to eat like certain foods. Because one thing, food is both a tool and a weapon for a bodybuilder. The right foods help you build your aesthetics. The wrong food can sidetrack you.
Yep.
And it's good after that time, after that whole time prepping, to just to get taste something a little salty, sugary, creamy,
Just
and
really.
then you have to go, yeah, filling. You have to
Yeah.
go back to the dried chicken and broccoli and rice.
I think I was down to it was just like tilapia and egg whites for weeks, and I was like, "This is so good for me." There were times where, like, I mean, I whipped it down, and I was like, "I'm so hungry still," and you couldn't do anything. You weren't allowed to eat anything else, and I think actually the worst part was being at work, and by 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm at a computer and I'm like doing this because I have no energy. There's no brain power, and it was just a struggle until I got home at 5 o'clock at night and I had to go back to the gym and I was like, I don't I just need fuel for this because this isn't operating. It was probably I think being at work was the worst part because you couldn't do anything and everyone around you ate whatever they wanted.
Yeah, because you said you work for a nonprofit, and then there might be little days where, hey, we're having Taco Tuesday. One
Yeah,
thing, Connie, say, hey, now
yeah,
I tell you, I mean, ladies tell me that sometimes you get in the night and be hungry, and
yeah,
sometimes one lady told me one time she dreamed about ice cream, food dreams. Some one thing about bodybuilders, y'all, some of them are big foodies, especially if
yeah,
ever have like issues, especially with the food, like food disorders. But some are very big foodies, and they love certain things, like was it early this year was Girl Scout season, you know. I
yeah.
gotta see. I
Prep
I
during
got
Girl Scout season, it sucked so much.
I gotta send you the link. It's really funny. You'll like it. I'll send it to you later. You'll like it. But yeah, it's temptation, But thing is, you want to be on that stage. You want to be in the
Yep.
best shape and get condition, and you have to make those sacrifices. And I
Mhm.
know your coach gives you a refeed, every now and then because that keeps you going for a little bit.
Right. But even after a certain point, it was like the refeed. I couldn't touch the refeed. There was no
Mm.
more refeeds. It was just pushed through. And I think too, it was because it was my first show, my first prep, and we didn't really know how my body was going to react to things. Because your body does at some point, it's not just the day of, it's like your body hits a survival mode. And I think it's for some people, for me, it was like that last 4 to 3 weeks out is when I was always tired. I couldn't drink enough water. I couldn't get enough sleep. The hunger is something that I got used to, and I actually kind of got excited because I was like, oh, it's working. Like I'm burning that fat. Like my metabolism's still going. Like, so it was, so the way I looked at it was a good thing, but it did suck though, because you're so, like I said, you're just so deprived, and we didn't want to feed me something where my body wouldn't let it go. Because when you're in that survival mode, and I don't think people that understand it, that don't do this, your body latches onto whatever it gets thrown into its body. And that includes, if it's bad, it is holding on to that tremendously because it needs it. And your body is in survival mode. It has no fat. It's being starved. It's being worked. You're in like, for people like myself that work, you know, 8 hours a day, 5 times a week, you're exhausted, and it needs it. It's craving it, and you have to be so careful what you put into your body. And like I said, it's usually like that last 4 weeks is when it was the worst. But I think we did a refeed after my first 2 weeks, and that was it. My body just kept doing what it was supposed to do, and we just stuck with it. And yeah, it when you start starving yourself and then you go and eat that one bad thing, it is latching on. It is not coming off easily.
Yeah, it's like the body, human body is a very interesting machine.
Hmm.
It can, even if you're skinny, it can still maintain hold a bit of fat, especially women. Y'all have a higher BMI than men.
Yep.
Men, our bodies are made, we can burn fat a little more naturally. A guy can lose weight faster than a woman because you have it in your hips, your breasts, all those places, especially y'all the ones who carry babies. And that's
Mm.
why y'all have that. Men, our purpose in life is to breed, battle, die, and that's it.
Right.
That's the purpose we have. But I was thinking about the body and its resiliency, to survive, to want to do better, to grow, and to you really to understand the process as a competitor. Like, one thing is like training is very important. Like,
Mm.
what's your day like? Like, what's like the exercise you like? One thing, the exercise that you, I'm so excited about this, and the exercise is, oh, God damn, I gotta do this shit.
I think, let's see. A lot of people can agree with me. Bulgarian split squats.
Ooh.
They suck balls. I don't care if you start with it. I don't care if you end with it. There's so many times, especially when my coach in the beginning, like, I would just ask him, I need you to push me. Like, we weren't even going for a training session. Like, we hadn't planned it. I was like, I'm struggling. I need you over here. And I remember there was one point where we were drop setting the Bulgarian split squats. It was like 40, 30, 20, 10s. And then you switch to the next leg. My whole leg was on fire. I couldn't even talk. And he was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I just like, it was like nothing kept coming out but this noise of agony. And I couldn't even like figure out what was, my brain was like, what is going on with your leg? And it was hurting. I couldn't make it move. And I still had to go and jump to the next leg. And I still had an extra set after that. And I think that was when it was the last thing I did on my leg day. So I have to say, Bulgarian split squats kick my butt. They're the one thing I dread so much. Um, Things that I absolutely love. I love leg extensions. I love leg press, and I love anything that works my back. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I know the back is the most important part, especially for y'all figure competitors. Even most all divisions, the back is most important, except for I think in wellness and bikini because you don't want to see it because it's covered with the hair.
Right.
It's the thing that can either make or break how you place at a show. And
Mhm.
I remember a while back I interviewed a lady. She's a Bulgarian, and she turned pro a few years ago, and she
Mhm.
was doing Bulgarian split squats with a Puerto Rican wellness competitor. They were competing against each other. She loves it. I know leg day is like if you ever saw the episode of Chappelle Show, where I always say this because it's so funny when Charlie Murphy meets Rick James, and they'll go back to Eddie's house, and then Rick goes, "F your couch, Eddie Murphy, F your couch," and they're beating his and Rick and Eddie, Eddie and Charlie beating his legs, and Dave Chappelle's like, y'all never say y'all getting this money, calling his phone, "What my legs, Charlie Murphy? What my name, Eddie Murphy?" That's a bodybuilder's feeling, getting
Yes.
legs beat. But the thing is, you have to work on those weaknesses to
Mm-hmm.
strengthen, to bring a better condition, a better look. Because, like I said, one thing about bodybuilding, it is the judging. The judges will see something. Talking to ladies, say some ladies don't even get critiques because but you want to get that feedback because you want to understand because even though you maybe understand some things, but then sometimes there's some things you miss.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said this again, the sport has evolved over the years. If you look at it, like if you look at the girls in bikini and wellness, how they are developing. As you
Right.
see now, is the new fit model division coming in. Excuse my language. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it. It's just going to be another division that's going to end up being like the previous division they're supposed to be replacing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you just standards are set, but if often I've heard told that the judges go by what they see on the stage,
Right.
and that's the problem. If you're not sticking to the standard, even though you see that person stage, like good example, like I said, Sarah Vilgas, to me, I think she shouldn't have been Miss Olympia physique. I think she should have been Sydney Grant. You
Mm-hmm.
know, not Sydney Grant. I mean, Sydney Grant should have been champion. But it's just how athletes evolve, and
Mm-hmm.
also people who even you're a natural competitor, but I know you get people say, "You're getting all these muscles. She trying to be a man. Are you on roids like that? Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah. I've actually, I think one of the biggest criticisms I've gotten about putting on this muscle comes from men that are older. Um, and I hate to say it, but my dad was my biggest critic and still kind of is because he's very like, why don't you stay small? You're getting too big. Or I actually got called fat once. And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, you don't understand. And it is what it is. Like, you're going to have your opinions and stuff. And I've even gotten some from women, from some women as well, that they were like, oh, she's actually like, and they don't understand the sport. They're like, she's a little too big. And again, those are some of the women that they think being very thin and size zero and weighing 100 pounds is healthy. That's fine. Great. But that's not me. And
Yeah.
I think if anything, I look even more feminine just with, because I have more curves in the right places, in my opinion. And then at the same time, I'm very strong. And women talk about being strong and showing that off and, really embracing their femininity. And this is how I do it.
Yeah.
So, and,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why I like figure. It's very strong, but I think we also look very inspirational because we're still very feminine looking because we do it in heels. We have a small waist, wider shoulders, larger legs and glutes. And that to me is like that. Wow, that's what I want. Like that's the inner me. That's what I want her to look like. That's the image of what she should look like. That's what I'm seeing when I see strong and feminine.
Yeah, because I think I've talked to ladies where sometimes, most times, the families don't understand what they get into,
Yeah.
but some will still support. I've known ladies say that sometimes when they go visit their family, they want to talk about it, especially when it comes to your parents. Your dad says, "I got me a boy. I don't want another boy. You're my little girl." Your daughter
Yeah.
says, "Sweetheart, you're getting too muscular and manly." And then the people who are in the gym says, "I want to be like you." Here's the thing like this. To be like you have to eat constantly, work
Mhm.
out every day, follow a diet. It doesn't, like I said, and I still get people to say, I just pop some steroids. No, no, no. I've had people told me, pros, amateurs told me, if you take the gear they take, the
Yeah.
shit they take, you're not going to look like me unless you don't follow the regimen and consistency and discipline of a diet and of a workout.
Yep.
Also, you're a natural competitor, and it takes you longer to put on the muscle
Mhm.
compared to someone who does take a performance enhancer. It takes maybe 6 months for them to put on 30 pounds. It
Right.
takes you maybe 6 months to put on five because
Yeah.
it's a different process.
It is. It's very, very different. I think I saw the most progress was right after my show because when I talked about that survival mode and how your body latches on to whatever you put in your body, it was all whole foods, and we try to stay away from, excessive fats. And that's actually where I noticed I had more quad growth. I pushed my legs a little bit more right after, but I wasn't pushing as heavy because I was still recovering, but my legs filled out more during that 4 to 8 weeks after it. And 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 then that's when it started slowing down. That's when I started noticing that it was harder for everywhere else to start growing. I wasn't seeing progress as fast, but that's the choice of wanting to go natural. You got to push the food, you got to push the weight, and you got to push the weight correctly. And you do have to take, unfortunately, a little bit more time to recover because you don't recover as fast. Sometimes my leg days, they take 3 4 days to recover from because I'm natural. Versus enhanced, it could take you like maybe just a few days to recover. So, and then the same thing, you have more energy too when you're enhanced and natural. I mean, some days, that workout, you're going in and you're mentally, you're tired and your body's exhausted, but you still have to keep pushing. You still have to push that food. And there has been days where I sit there and look at my food and I'm like, I gotta eat again. Like, I gotta eat all this food again. Like, why don't I just go enhanced? Like, why don't I just do that and eat just a little bit less food and make it a little bit easier on myself? But for the long run, when I'm in my 50s and 60s, I don't have to worry about that because I decided to stay natural. Oh, Mike. I don't know what.
Or something happened with Michael. Oh yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. It's a lot to Phantom understand what it is, especially as a competitor,
Mhm.
and the consistency, the diet, the discipline. You know, doing it a different way than everybody else is doing it. But like I said, natural's getting a little popular. There's a organization like OCB, which is a natural
Mhm.
organization. The IFBBs right now they're pushing. As you said again, as I said earlier, the Pittsburgh show is going to be a natural pro qualifier, you know, because I think they're going to have to do another show to get the to be qualified for it for because it's like nationals, But there's opportunity, and I think that's a good way, for you, and I'm glad you found that way. But still, we all know the everyday who competes in the sport, they go that way with the enhancements and stuff like that because they want to bring a certain look,
Yeah.
and they don't want to take 3 or 4 days away from the gym to go
Mhm.
back. They want to go back maybe a couple of days. And rest recovery, sometimes that's an important part of that.
It is. I would have to say one person that inspired me to do it naturally. I talked about um, Jennifer earlier, Zollers, and I talked about, because she's wellness and she's Olympian. Her girls are natural, and I don't know if you remember last year at the Pittsburgh show, her um, her client Riley Walsh, she's IFBB pro, and she did it naturally, and then she placed in the top 5 naturally. So, I mean, if some people think, oh, they can't get there that way, yes, you can. It takes longer, it takes more effort, and it takes a lot more food, and it is hard. And but
Hmm.
she's always been natural, and she looks great. She looks absolutely amazing. She went up there with some girls that I'm sure were enhanced, and she made top 5. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I interviewed a couple ladies from that show, Women's Physique. There was only 3 competitors. One was a natural competitor, Sam, and also I interviewed Natalie Ray Wolf, who won that show. And I remember I was watching a while back. This was at the Olympia, and she was there walking around, and she got stopped by. He's an asshole, Kenny Ko. I'm not a fan of this guy. He goes and he asks everybody just about, oh, are you natty or not? And one person I'm a fan of, she's from around the Pittsburgh area. That's Teresa Vasic. They really were cutting down on her. What she should have did was avoid it. But what I respect about what Natalie did, she said, I'm not going to tell you, what, hey, and people say, yeah, yeah, yeah. But hey, that's her right. If she don't want to tell you, that's none of your business. You
Yep.
know, like I said again, I respect y'all ladies and I respect who you are. But also, there's that other flip side, Natalie. Yes, the guys out there who get